and this is my percussion methods assignment number 5, keyboard private lessons video. This is my student Kat. Today we'll be learning about keyboard instruments. So first I'm going to talk about chimes. Those are the chimes. Chimes are metal tubes suspended on a rack. They come with a dampener and a pedal. The hand that's not playing with can also work as a dampener. You play on the top edge to get the best sound on the chimes. Use a great chime hammer that has a great weight, and it's made out of it has a hard plastic head on one side for an articulate sound, and the other side usually is covered in felt for a softer, warmer sound. If using 2 mallets for quick music, have 2 matching chime hammers for consistent sound. Don't rest hammers on the instrument, place them on a tray off to the side. The typical range for a chimes instrument is 2 octaves. The next instrument we will talk about is the xylophone. The xylophone looks much like this version, but it's a lot smaller. The characteristic sound of a xylophone is a very bright and cutting sound. The bars are made out of rosewood or a synthetic material. For mallets, well, first let's talk about mallets for a second. You need a wide range of mallets to choose from to get as many different colors and sounds as possible. Mallets shouldn't be harder than the instrument that you're playing. So if you're playing on a wooden barred instrument, you wouldn't use a metal mallet because that would break the bars. Okay. For xylophone, any poly material would be a great mallet. Use a general mallet for the general characteristic sound. The xylophone itself has a wide range of sound and tonal colors. You can try softer mallets for less bright or warmer sound in the low end of the instrument, but it may not speak in the higher range because they're not hard enough to get that sound. So for the higher range, you might try using a harder mallet for a more bright and cutting sound. Typically, those would be made out of a hard plastic. Be careful not to overplay and damage the instrument, especially in the lower register with the harder mallets. Choose a mallet that gets the sound you want for the music that you're playing. The typical range for a xylophone is about 3.5 octaves. Next, we will talk about the glockenspiel or orchestral bells. The bars are made out of metal, and unlike the other keyboard instruments, they are mounted with a post. So they're like, you use a screw to attach them to the base. The characteristic sound for orchestral bells is a ringing, long, sustained sound. Whenever you're playing the bells, you want to hit the sweet spot where you play right in the middle of the bar. Unlike others, you don't want to play on the edge of the bar. Like on this instrument, you could play on the edge and get about the same sound as you would get in the middle. Yeah, you would not do that on the bells. There are many possibilities to choose from for mallets. All get a different sound characteristic from the instrument. For a general sound, hard plastic head would be the best mallet choice. It has the brilliant shimmering sound, very characteristic of the instrument. For a warmer sound with less attack, a poly or hard rubber head would be best used. For a particularly brilliant sound, use a brass-headed mallet. There are many others to choose from. These are just 3 of the standard basic ones. Use your ears to pick which one would be best. And the typical range of this instrument would be about 2.5 octaves. Next, we'll talk about the vibraphone. The vibraphone has metal bars, like the bells. It also has a pedal that enacts a dampener. You press the pedal to sustain the sound. The motor enacts the fan blades, which creates a tremolo effect. Whenever it's not in use, the blades should be about this angle, if you can see that, not flat, because that cuts off the sound. You would want it to be slightly open so it produces a long, sustained sound. The pedal controls the duration of the notes. Use your ears to control the duration of the notes, and don't just listen to what you're doing. Another way to control the sustain would be to use one mallet to muffle the sound. So you could play and then stick your left mallet on the key to stop the sound. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Mallets. Generally, Generally use a rattan shaft for flexibility. The head usually is wrapped in cord. It's usually a poly or rubber mallet won't produce the characteristic sound, but may be used in rare circumstances for special effects. Generally, a characteristic sound on a vibraphone, you would use a mallet that has a good attack and good fundamental tone in the sound. For more attack and slightly more brilliant sound, for articulate playing, you would have a bit harder head. They give an example of the M32 Vickforth mallet. For a darker sound, or for a darker and a lot more of a fundamental tone and less attack, you would use a lighter mallet. Always use your ears to select a mallet that gives the sound you're looking for the piece that you're playing. Now we're going to talk about marimba, which is what we'll be playing today. As you can see, the marimba has wooden bars. They're generally rosewood. Sometimes they're made out of a synthetic material, but these are rosewood. Mallets, you would generally have birch or maple shaft heads wrapped in yarn. These are not birch or maple shafts because they're beginner mallets. Yeah. You can get many different kinds of mallets with any different degree of hardness. The harder the mallet, the more typical of the higher register, creates a very bright sound. The softer, it's great in the lower register and creates a very dark sound. Medium hardness works across the full range of the instrument. That's what we have, is a medium hardness. The marimba is much wider than other keyboard instruments. Moving whenever you're playing from the lower register to the other, you're going to have to take a step. With the other instruments, we would typically just lean, but to reach full range and get the tone we're looking for, if you start on one end, you would have to take a whole step over, and you can get it with just one step. You should not walk while you play, and you shouldn't lean. You should take as few steps as possible. Like I said, with this instrument, you should be able to do it in only one. Keep the center of your body in front of the instrument, and no turning and no walking while you're playing. You should practice your movement like you practice the music. It's just another aspect to what you're doing. Other mallet choices would be latex wrapped around rubber core for a more articulate sound. There's also a series that has soft to hard range, and each one gets a slightly different sound. Just choose the appropriate mallet for the situation. Alright, now I'm going to teach you how to do 2-mallet grip. If you would let me see one of the mallets, please. You can hold that up. Alright, so what you want to do is you hold it more like your snare drum hold. You're going to keep it, you're going to have fulcrum here, but you're going to want to bring this down a little more. Alright, and then whenever you're playing, you want your thumb to be on top. And you're going to hit it like a piston stroke. Up and down, straight up and down. Alright, you try it with both hands. I would say that you probably need to go a little more up, especially on this hand. Alright, that looks good to me. Alright, now we're going to play Light Libero on page 18, which is there. Alright, if you would like to play it, and then I'll critique your stroke if needed. Alright, I think you did a great job with alternating your hands and making use of the tips of the bars. I would say you could come up a little more on your stroke. So if you'd like to play it one more time and try to come up a little bit more, that would be great. Great job. Much improvement. Alright, good job with your full stroke. Just make sure you keep getting all the way back up. It looked great to me. Gold star.